Good morning, my friends, and welcome to day 25 of the 28 days of play. I'm really glad that you're here. I wanted to share with you a little bit of a passion project that I have put together and that I would love to use today. Many years ago, when I started trying to unravel why art was giving me such anxiety, and I was just really struggling with like a lot of just judging myself and all these things. Anyway, I stepped away from art for a really long time, too long in fact, and I realized how much I was craving it, but I was also really, really scared to begin because I felt like people were going to look at what I had created and go like, oh, that's not very good, you know, you're an artist, like what is this? And so I literally was so afraid of this. I painted down in the corner of a room and I would turn my easel like so nobody could see. I was backed up into the corner as far as I could get. And I just needed this space where I could do the work that I needed to do. So what I started doing was, I had so many feelings going on at that time. And so what I started doing was really just pouring my heart out on the canvas. So a lot of it was just kind of like ugly stuff I was dealing with, or ugly words that I was thinking about myself and my own self-worth, and just putting that on the canvas because I didn't know where to start, right? That's just, my head was so full. It was like swimming with all these messages. And this was about 15 years ago. And when I started doing that, and then I started taking paint and covering over those ugly words with this beautiful color, it's like something switched inside of me. And it took me a while to begin to notice it, that there was this slow shift happening inside of me, that there was this little bit of healing taking place, this little bit of confidence that I was regaining by just finally being honest and vulnerable with myself and taking a few more risks as I would play, and just really making this a time to just get stuff out and then just sit in that space and listen and take it all in. So all that to say, let's fast forward. I think we're like 15, 16 years later now. I had developed like a whole series of prompts just for myself to say, hey, these are some things you should remember. Don't forget this lesson that you were shown today on how to show up in a very vulnerable and authentic way when you paint. And so I started collecting those into like little cards. Well, I made them for myself and I always kept them at my paint cart. But then when I started teaching, because I felt so strongly about like, oh my gosh, I've been shown something really beautiful, I want to share it with other people. And so I started making this little deck of cards, just and putting those out for my workshop attendees so they could just pull one when they were feeling stuck or if they needed a little bit of inspiration. So I think it was like 2 years ago, I decided I actually wanted to make these playing cards. Create to breathe playing cards, shuffle, draw, play, and paint. I put together this whole deck of cards. There are 52 of them, of course, right? And so they're in different categories. You know, some of them, it kind of guides you through a whole creative process. So like the first ones are about, you know, really more setting your heart and your space to begin a creative session. The second ones are just about play, just all sorts of ideas on play. The third category is about how you can express yourself differently through painting. And then there's another category on just basically helping you to walk through some of those hard moments where you need to keep moving forward, but you're not sure how. And I even made this into an app, and I just haven't done anything with it yet. So what I want to offer to you today is I'm going to read a couple of these and to you throughout our time here today. I also wanted to tell you, I'm going to put a link in the description where you can download these for free. You'll just need to download the PDF, print them and trim them out, and you will have your own deck of playing cards. So if for some reason you lose this link, you can always go to createtobreathe.com and you'll see the link there to download free playing cards as well. I just felt like it was something that it was like a gift that was handed to me when I would show up and do the work. And so I wanted to give that back to everybody else. It wasn't mine to hold on to. I felt so compelled that I wanted to share it. I wanted to just read you, this is actually part of the emotional storytelling category, about expressing yourself. And this one's called Divine Vision. And it basically just says, close your eyes and ask your spirit what it wants to create today. Hold that vision and let it flow onto the canvas. And there's all of these little tips down at the bottom. And it just says, don't judge this vision at all. Don't judge it. Don't jump to conclusions, anything. Just paint it, even if it doesn't make any sense yet. Go forward, even if it doesn't make any sense. But thank you for indulging me, because that is just such a passion project of mine, and I probably don't talk about it often enough, but those resources are there for you, and I definitely wanted to share that with you. Day 25, drum roll. We are looking at paint with softness and strength together. Ooh, that automatically makes me think of watercolors. And it makes me think about just the soft, flowy edges of florals that can kind of like bleed into almost like transparency, where they sort of melt together. And then it makes me think about just those fine details that can really bring a floral to life. So I think that's where my heart is going with that vision today. Okay, so before we begin, I wanted to pull one of the Mindful Moments cards. And sorry about the glare. It's just so hard to be able to not have glare. And this one, oops, that's the wrong one. Sorry, this is the Pure Play card about cultivating more joy in your creative practice. And so even just for artists who I feel like, maybe you've been creators for a long time, but you are struggling with just finding the joy, right? Like you're so maybe fixated on the product that you've lost the joy of the process. And so these cards are really great for that personality. This one just says doodle first, and start with playful doodles and build layers around them. So I think that might be a way that I want to explore today too. Let's see what the challenge was. Try using your non-dominant hand, or a blind contour drawing to begin. Okay, well that's fun too. I'm having some spearmint tea this morning. It just sounded really nice and warm and cozy. Let's get started, shall we? So non-dominant hand, so I'm right-handed. So what's beautiful about working with your non-dominant hand is that you're naturally gonna move differently, right? Like our right hand or your dominant hand is so used to moving in certain ways that we have patterns. But when we pick up, here I'll just pick up a regular pencil. And when we use our non-dominant hand, we're naturally holding it looser. First of all, we just don't know how to hold it this way. But I'm just gonna create some little doodles here that maybe I can respond to later. For me, when I started painting it was like, I just needed somewhere to start, And so a lot of these prompts just gave me that launching space to not judge what I was doing, but just to begin. And for a lot of us, it's just beginning, right? So a lot of times it really is just about showing up for yourself. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day what we make here. It's like what we make here and what we make here. And that is so much richer. And so if you just want this, like I've suggested that maybe you guys could share some of the things, just because honestly, I would love to see the work that you're doing. And if, especially if you're inspired by any of these prompts, you know, please tag me. I would love to see what you're up to. But also, this is a practice that is just for you. And so if it is something that you can just develop that time for yourself, that's most important. It's not most important that you tag me or that you show the world on social media. It is for you, most importantly. So, okay, stop rambling, Tish. Stop rambling. So I'm just making these scribbles. Scribbly dibbles, doodles, not scribbles, doodles. That is so good. Spearmint tea. I don't think I've ever had spearmint tea before. Who knew? I'm thinking that I want to work in layers with watercolor that are just really soft and light to like very bold. Let's start with a little orange. And today I'm working with my liquid watercolors because I'm lazy and I just think that they go a little faster, which is really nice. So I am going to start there, and I am not going to grab, so I'm just going to put down some water, and I'm going to kind of let this flow. So I painted some water into an area, and I just want to let this flow a little bit through this area. And sometimes you need to help it a little bit, but don't forget, one of our best watercolor tools, right, is the blotting towel, which I will put over here closer to me so I can remember. And so if you ever feel like you get too much, or you go too heavy, or you get too much water, this little guy is super, super helpful. So we're talking about soft edges and hard edges today. So I think I'm going to come down here. Got a little something on there. I'm going to do the same thing down here, just dropping in some of that color. And I think maybe I'll move over here. I love watercolor because it's just so fun to watch it spread around. It is the best. I wanted to say too, I really enjoyed yesterday's session with you guys. It was super fun. It's like all the wonderful things I love talking about and sharing, so hopefully you enjoyed it too. And I felt like our piece was super fun. I loved playing with, it's been a long time since I've played with like my spray paints and stuff, so who knows, that might encourage a painting on down the road when I get back on my canvas. So I'm enjoying that. I'm gonna go play with maybe some areas over here, maybe in the background. Do I want to do that? Is that what's happening? Maybe I'll go over here to this one. And let's get our magenta, because you know, I love some magenta. I did clean up my palette finally. It was getting a little embarrassing, so sorry about that. Sorry about that to all you people who stay really, really organized. Oh, see, but that's okay. See, look, it like spilled over because I started to make this area wet, but that's totally fine. Honestly, I'm really fine with it. I kind of like it. I kind of like that my colors, which I was thinking about, like these might be flowers, like spilled into the background. So maybe I'm gonna follow that a little bit, and I'm just gonna add a little more water here. in here. Maybe I'll just add a little drop and see where that one wants to go. I love that. It's just so fun. Maybe I should have been a chemistry teacher. Nah, I don't know any math. I am terrible with math. My kids, once they got past 5th grade, I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm out, guys. I really don't know what to do with this anymore. When something makes you happy, just go with the thing that makes you happy. And I think I want to connect these 2 little puddles here. Have them be friends with each other. I love that. So I'm just playing with these edges a little bit. It's all about the edges today, right? Kind of taking this flower across the gutter a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like when it comes together. I'd love to know what comes to mind when you guys think about soft edges and hard edges. What visual comes to you? I know we've been painting flowers this month, but there's all sorts of things, right? Ooh, maybe we should play with our dry pigments today too. That would be fun. I love it. It's like a magic wand, because like you touch it and then all of a sudden it's like it goes from being nothing to being something. And I just love that. Maybe I'll put a few of these little guys down here too. Just some little spritzes of color. Yes, like that. Okay, I need more tea. Let's go play with these flowers some more. So painting in with water first and then coming back. This is a different color of yellow. Kind of like a yellowy orange. Let's see what else I have in here. I also have this interesting, it's called light pink, but to me it looks kind of like a beige. That might be pretty over here. It gets a little bit tricky with our watercolors, the way that we're working, because we're not on this flat surface. So the water sort of wants to run downhill, right? So it has a tendency to puddle. So if it's puddling somewhere that you're not wanting it to go or a little too much, just gently use your toweling and then pick it back up. So that's nice, but it's not exactly what I was hoping for. So maybe let's mix a little bit of that with a little bit of our magenta, so it's a little more pink. I like that better. Our rose pink needed to be more rose. It's not like a super bright in your face color, but I like it, that it's subtle. Sometimes I forget to be subtle. Pop a little magenta over here and see where it wants to go. Need to blot up my puddle just a little bit. Ooh, I like that. I think I probably need to do the same thing down here with this orange starting to puddle. Okay, that's making me very happy. And I love the way like this started to sort of just run down. Maybe I'll encourage that a little bit more. Just to run down here. This guy is still wanting to continue to be a part of the program, but we're not doing that. Okay, I'm gonna give this a quick dry, and that way we can continue on building our layers and our edges. So I was pretty slow and deliberate with drying because I knew I didn't want to dry so fast and have it blow the water that was on the canvas around. And so I really wanted it to kind of dry in place where we had placed it. So I held it up really high and put it on a low, and then finally got to where it was dry enough where I could just hit it a little faster there towards the end. So I think that looks really great so far. I'm excited to go back in with more color, and I'm just thinking about how I might want to approach it. I'm thinking about bringing in, maybe following some of these lines with some other layers of color. So when you add color on top of color, that's called glazing in watercolor. And because what happens is you end up having one color combine with another one, and so you get really fun effects of like two colors coming together. So anyway, we'll play with that, but first tea. Okay, so maybe I'll leave that edge, but then play with this edge being soft. I didn't like it when there were like two hard edges. That was, I think, just really, it felt very out of place, like on everything else that was happening. So I'm enjoying now that there's one hard edge up here, and then this is really soft. So maybe I'll just keep playing in that direction. I think I'm going to soften up this bottom edge here even more. This is such a great tool. Yes, I like that so much better. That makes me so much happier. And if you remember yesterday, that's really what we were talking about a lot, was just listening and paying attention to those things, because if some things just doesn't feel right, then you have that knowledge within you, right? Where you can listen to that and make different choices. So I think I want to do that again with this darker value over here. And then I'll blot at the bottom. And then I'll blur that edge. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it. So I think I'm going to do that a little bit up here. Blur that edge. And blot. Blur and blot. I like it. I like it. And then the other color that you can also add is just a little bit of blue. It doesn't really matter too terribly much what color of blue, but always just adding a touch of blue to your color. That was probably a little too much blue. Again, the watercolor friends out there are cringing watching me mix colors, but it's okay. It's fine. I get to where I need to be. It's just not pretty sometimes. So I'm going to drop some of this color in here, kind of towards the center, this direction, and maybe I'll put some here. And then I'm going to follow this line down here, go this direction, and then I'm going to blur and blot. Like it should be a dance. Blur and blot. And again, when we're doing florals, it's just so important that you don't get caught up into creating these like realistic flowers, because when you're trying to paint intuitively, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. What's important, even the content of your painting doesn't even matter so much. Honestly, you could just make abstract marks and colors and things like that, which I do a lot of the time. But we're just using florals as a way to express ourselves this month. So if there's something else that you feel like you're drawn to creating, by all means, follow that. You can use all these prompts actually to be able to play in the same way, but just with a different subject matter. That's where those playing cards are really great too, because it doesn't matter what I'm working on. Those are always wonderful tools to keep by my side to just help me moving forward and help me stay focused on the right things, you know, as I'm moving forward, keep my head space and my heart space where it needs to be. So I'm going to go back into a little bit more of the blue and add it to my purple here. I was wearing this hat yesterday that said, not like, I love this hat. I got it from the Popcast with Knox and Jamie. If any of you listen to that podcast, it's so good, first of all. They also have a sister podcast called Faith Adjacent, which for those of us who are recovering evangelicals, it is a wonderful podcast. And it actually is faith-based, but it is hilarious. So anyway, highly recommend those. But they have some funny merch they sell, and so I got this hat that says "Not Like Other Moms," and I love wearing it. My kids fully support that, though. Like, it's not just like a self-endorsement. It is completely true. My kids would agree that they really don't know any other moms like their mom. I just felt like I wanted to put in some dark value, and who knows, maybe I'll take it back out. But I want to just play with a little bit more depth. Maybe I'll put a little bit through there and through there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to blur and blot, blur and blot. I have this like weird spot right here because I had put some acrylic paint down because I was having trouble with bleed through in the gutter. So it's a little wonky right there, but it's okay. It's okay. Blur. We did the blur stage. And now we're going to blot just a little bit on the edge. Maybe I took too much of the blue away there. I can bring you back, don't worry. I'll bring you back. But maybe I won't make him go right up to the edge. Instead, we'll stay here. It's just a lot of playing. You can always, like this line right here feels a little too edgy to me, a little too much of a hard line. So I'm going to go back in and kind of like rub a little bit of it out with my brush and blot and blot and blot. And now it's better. I like it. I like it. Okay, so let's go back into some of our others over here that we've been neglecting a bit. I think I want to add a little bit of that color. I like that color. Let's put that through here. Again, I'm just playing with those like soft and hard edges. I think when I put the color over everything, I lost some of my hard edges over here. So I might have to bring those back in. That's okay, that was a learning. Let me put a little bit of this color through there. I think I want to just pop that in, using it for my water, which is what I intended, but I told you I'd get it messed up. So I like this though. Let's bring in some more of that. I just brought in some more like the purple, but just bringing it into a splatter too. Yes. Okay. Okay, and then the thing to remember about watercolors is they dry lighter. So sometimes when I'm looking at the wet against the dry, it's feeling very bright, right? Or very like, there's a lot of difference, but I think I just need to roll with it a little bit more. Woo! God, that would be a fire. That's what happens. Oh, you guys, what the heck? I can't believe that just happened. I'm like, I smell something burning. What could that be? Oh, it's my paintbrush over my candle. Let's move our candle a bit further away. It's probably a good idea. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's not do that again. I mean, surprisingly, it's still pretty usable. So, and I think I just want to play with some of these lines. So remember how we can put down the wet on dry, but then if we use the towel to pick it back up, it just kind of makes this really cool. Let me see if I can show you that. Just makes this really cool mark. You know, it's like it's blending the two colors together in a cool way. I'm gonna block that a little bit. Do a little blot action over here. But I think that's looking pretty good. I liked bringing that line back in because it kind of reminds me of the marks we were making with our non-dominant hand. I cannot believe I set my paintbrush on fire. Oh, my husband will crack up. Okay. Some of the yellow. Now I want to do the same thing with maybe here on this flower. And we're just going to let that sit for just a second. And what's happening is those colors are starting to mix and rehydrate. And I probably need to get a new cloth at some point. And then when I pick that up, you see that? It's kind of beautiful. Okay. It's this fun way of like adding it and then blotting it back as you need to. Oh my goodness, my friends are gonna just die when they find out I set my paintbrush on fire. Y'all, sometimes lifing is a struggle for me. Okay, I'm liking all the marks and the energy. I like a lot of what is happening here. So this is what I'm gonna do. I think I wanna get out my dry pigments and play with those for a minute. So let's see if I can find those real quick. blop of color. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. So when you use these dry pigments, you actually need to have a dry surface and then just put the water just where you want the pigment to go, because otherwise those tiny little flakes will grab onto anything that is wet and it might go where you don't want it. So let's give it a dry first. Okay, so that feels good and dry. Now I'm going to put in some water where I want it to go. I'm thinking in this area would be a good spot. Okay, well, this is this decision time. I think I'm going to try this Sunset Beach. That's the only one out of them that I was like, so we'll just try it. So again, you just tap like a dry brush into the dry pigment, grab a little bit goes a long way. So you want to start with just a tiny bit and then let it go from there. If you go too heavy-handed, you might be sad. So I'm actually really liking this sunset because it is really pulling some of the reds, and then I see some oranges and some of those colors that we've used on here already. And before it gets too crazy, I'm just going to give it a little tiny blot and kind of soften that edge a little bit. So I'm digging that a whole ton. I'm so glad we chose that one. Let's do some more. Let's do more. Okay. Ooh, it's so pretty. Okay, and then it really is so cool because it's like sometimes it's more orange, sometimes it's more red. But I really love it. Okay, make sure you get the lids back on these things, because I will tell you through experience, if you drop one over and then try to clean it up, it's a mess. I love it so much, so much, so much. I might bring this one down a little bit. Yes. Ooh, I'm loving this. I'm loving it so much. I love these like soft and hard lines, and that really helped. I think I want to go a little darker right here. Sunset Beach. So these are called infusions. They are color, it says colored stains, but sometimes I hear them referred to as dry pigment. So I often call them dry pigment. Ooh, loving it. I am loving it. Okay, so I'm also really loving the energy of the splashes. Move this over here so you guys can see better. So I think I want to go back into some of that darker, a little bit like a darker blue. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, it's so fun. It's so fun. So I'm feeling a little compelled to bring in some of that blue color into some of my floral centers. And I'm just doing that a little heavy-handed because I know I will probably blot it back a little bit. Ooh, I love the energy. Okay, love, 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 love. Okay, so I am going to dry this and then we'll think about what we want to do with the background, okay? Now I think I want to address the background, but I want to do it really minimally because I love the superstars that are over here. And I just want to let that speak. And then just in the smallest little brush, I'm going to grab some of that blue and just go straight into it to do the darkest centers of these flowers. You know how I like to put some blue. Okay, that looks really good. So we'll let that dry while we work on the background. So for the background, I mean, we could do gouache, but I feel like it's gonna be too much of a hard edge against these soft edges that are here. So I'm kind of feeling like I wanna go and maybe just do like a soft turquoise or green. But we'll have to put down the color quickly and blot it so that it doesn't take away our little splashes that are there. I'm thinking turquoise. So let's just try it in an area. So I want to take this water up to my flower, right? But I want to leave some of that fun white space so I'm not crossing over. But I'm okay with crossing over these little splish splashes. And then let's just drop in some of our color. That's probably way too bright. Way too bright, but it's okay because we can bring it back. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. If you're in my age group, you remember a commercial that was like, ask, how'd it go? Ask Mikey. He likes it. He likes it. I don't know. I don't even know what it was for. So let's drop in a little bit of the turquoise again. And it's kind of fun making these little soft edges even with the background color. I really didn't want to bring in something that felt really hard against all of this. So let's bring in some of that. Love, love, I'm loving it, guys. And I love how the turquoise is kind of picking up these little notes, these little splish splashes of color that are going behind and not moving them a ton, but just blending enough, right? That they're just creating this really fun like texture where the colors will shift. I'm gonna put in a little bit more through here and just kind of dabbing in those colors. Let's pull in. Maybe if I put just a little bit of yellow, it'll give like the idea that there might be some leaves or something happening in the background. Yes, I love it so much. Yes, okay, super happy, which means we're getting close. means we're getting close. So I think I want to add just a little bit more over here. Just finding this white a little bit distracting. I just was being a little tentative with my color when I first started because I wasn't really sure. Ooh, and I like how it's actually shifted a little bit because I had some yellow on my brush to do this like a little bit more of like a aqua color. I'm just putting that color in just certain little places. I'll tuck some in here and in there. Yes. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, 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 love. Okay, I'm gonna dry this and then I'm gonna decide if there's anything else I wanna do. So as I was drying it, I was seeing like there's certain areas of white, right, that are the white of the page. And so I wanted to play with what would happen if I brought in a little bit of white acrylic ink. Okay, I also found something else while I was digging. This is Dr. Martin's Iridescent calligraphy colors. Iridescent calligraphy colors. It's frosted peach, which could be super fun. So let's play with this one first. Let's just put it over here just to see what it is. Kind of looks like bad fingernail polish, but we'll give it a whirl. Sometimes I have these things in the studio that I've had around forever, and I just don't even remember why I bought them. Probably something just on sale. Okay, so I'm going to, oh, I like the way it's drying though. That's super fun. Okay, so I think I'm going to embrace it and add a little bit of that. Yeah, the paintbrush is working much better. I definitely don't want to create anything too perfect right now, so I'm just really trying to keep it super loose. Sometimes it's in these last layers that you're like, oh man, I got way too tight on that. But I am actually loving what this little guy is doing. I still might want to add a little bit of the white, but I want to show you guys what's happening because I'm not really sure you can see it totally. Let me try to capture it in the camera. See like sort of the fun metallic shimmer, and what's nice is it's going to dry that way too. I'm enjoying that little bit of a highlight. The nice thing about this ink is that it picks up the watercolor too. So it's not like you're getting this bright white, you're just getting this little highlight that's taking place. So okay, I think I'm just going to do a light blot on those. I think that looks really good to me. I think part of me is deciding if there needs to be something that's a little more dark blue. You're like, just wrap it up already. Okay, I just wanted to add, since the background kind of like muted out our splatters a little bit, I just want to add some of those back over top so we don't lose those, because those were making me super happy. I love that. And I think maybe what is calling me is to just do the smallest dot of turquoise in the center. To kind of bring the flowers in the background together. So I think that was just something I needed to do. Yes. Yep. Yep, that's what it needed. That's what I was wanting. I just had to keep experimenting until I got there. Okay, so I know our little drippy drops are still drying, but I want to move this to the side, take a sip of my tea, which does have watercolor in it. That's okay. It's probably good for me. And I'm going to clear our little space just for a little bit. And now I just want to go ahead and pull our tape so we can see what we're working with here. Love it. So just a reminder of our prompt for today was all about finding soft moments. Let me read it again. Paint with softness and strength together. So to me, the thing that spoke to me today was about finding edges of my painting that might be soft and blurred and obscured, and then moments where it really felt like there was a strong decision made there. Because I think it's both of those things working together that really create strength in a composition. If everything is like, you know, a really defined line, it's kind of like, I don't know, it just feels too aggressive. But if everything is super soft, then it also kind of feels like, you know, which is, if those are what you're going for, if that's the feeling you're going for, totally appropriate. But what we were trying to do today with our florals was to create something that felt like we had moments of both. And so I feel like this is super, super successful. So I want to grab our last card before I forget. I probably buried it over here. Here it is. This is the last card I pulled for today. And it simply says to honor the ending, to step back when you're done, take a deep breath, and thank yourself for showing up. Whisper a word of gratitude. And I am so, so grateful for this time with you guys, for this time with myself, for the time and energy that you gave to your creativity today. Because when we feed our creativity and our creative spirit, it really feeds us. It is a very reciprocal relationship. I love the shimmer on that metallic. I love all the energy that is in there with the splashes and the way that the colors are working together. But softness is something that is really good. I think I will take that forward with me today, and I'm totally grateful for that. Let's sign with my blue Le Pen. And this was day 25. Oh my goodness, day 25. So I would love it if you want to drop a comment to let me know how you felt about today's tutorial. If there's something that you took away from it, I would love to hear that too. If you enjoyed the part where I set my paintbrush on fire, let me know. We just keep it real over here is what I'm saying. But I look forward to being back with you guys tomorrow for day 26. We really just have 3 short days left. I'm still trying to decide exactly how I want to wrap this up with something fun, but I'm sure we'll have a great time celebrating on Saturday. Until then, have a great day and take care.